Let's dive right in. I want to share an urgent message with you. If you've been feeling stuck, if things haven't been changing in your life the way you've hoped, or if you just feel like you're not making progress, one of the most powerful things you can understand about reality is that your emotions and intentions are incredibly significant in shaping your life. You see, every thought you have carries energy, and this energy, this frequency, is key. It's not just about having a thought, it's about the quality of that thought and the emotion behind it. Think of it like this: your elevated emotions are the carriers of your thoughts. They act like a beam of light, guiding your energy with precision. The higher your frequency, the more coherent your energy becomes. This coherence is like a laser, making your intentions clearer and more focused. When you have a clear intention and combine it with elevated emotion, something amazing happens. Your brain and heart align, creating a powerful energy field. Now here's the crucial part. We've seen through experiments and studies that simply feeling gratitude or having a positive intention isn't enough by itself. To truly make a change in your life, you need to combine these elements. You need both a clear intention and an elevated emotion. Think of intention as the direction you want to go, and emotion as the fuel that propels you forward. Let's break this down. Imagine you're on a journey and you want to reach a specific destination. The first step is to know where you're going. This is what we call a clear intention. Your intention is like a roadmap or a GPS that tells you where you want to go. It's the specific goal or outcome you're aiming for. For example, if you want to improve your health, your clear intention might be to achieve a healthier lifestyle by eating better and exercising regularly. But having a roadmap or GPS alone is not enough. You need energy to drive you to your destination. This is where elevated emotion comes in. Think of emotion as the fuel that powers your journey. When you feel strong, positive emotions like enthusiasm, joy, or excitement, you're adding fuel to your intention. This fuel helps you move forward and overcome obstacles along the way. Let's say you have a clear intention to get fit and healthy. You've set a goal to exercise 3 times a week and eat more nutritious food. That's your direction. But if you don't have the right emotional energy, it's like trying to drive a car with an empty gas tank. You might have a plan, but you won't get very far without fuel. So how do you add that fuel? Elevated emotions come from deeply feeling the positive outcomes of your intention. For instance, when you think about your goal of being healthier, try to genuinely feel excited about it. Imagine how great it will feel to have more energy, to fit into your favorite clothes, or to be able to participate in activities you love. When you truly connect with these positive feelings, you're filling up your emotional tank. In practice, this means you don't just think about your goals, you need to actually feel the emotions associated with achieving them. This could be done through visualization exercises, where you vividly imagine yourself reaching your goal and experiencing the joy and satisfaction that come with it. The more real these feelings become, the more fuel you're adding to your intention. Let's consider another example. If you want to improve your career, your clear intention might be to get a promotion or start a new project. Your intention is clear, but you need to feel motivated and excited about the possibilities. Imagine how fulfilling it would be to achieve this goal, and let yourself feel the excitement and pride. This emotional energy will help push you towards taking the necessary actions and overcoming any challenges you might face. Imagine you're tuning a radio. If you don't dial it to the right frequency, you won't hear the station clearly. Your life works the same way. When your energy matches the frequency of the potential you desire, that potential finds you. This is how the quantum field operates. It responds to the vibration you send out. So, how do you get clear on what you want? Let's say you want to manifest a new home. Start by creating a vision. Cut out pictures from magazines of homes you admire, draw pictures, and write down your desires. The more detailed and vivid your vision, the better. Place these visual representations where you can see them often. Your conscious mind needs to stay focused on this vision. Your subconscious mind will then start guiding you toward it. But patience is key. If you're impatient, you're essentially doubting that your desires will come to fruition. Remember, we're here to experience and enjoy life. Our senses are the tools through which we engage with our creations. As you focus on your vision, you may find yourself making choices and taking steps that align with your dreams. It's like tending a garden. You'll be nurturing and cultivating it, removing obstacles, and adding positive elements. Let's talk about patience and why it's so important. Imagine you've planted a seed in your garden. You've chosen a spot, dug a hole, and carefully placed the seed in the soil. Now, if you were to dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing, you would disturb it and delay its growth. Instead, you need to be patient. You water the seed, make sure it gets enough sunlight, and give it time to grow. This is the same with your dreams and desires. When you set a goal or have a vision for something you want in your life, it's important to trust the process and be patient. If you keep doubting and worrying about whether your dreams will come true, you're not helping them grow. Doubt and impatience can create negative energy that holds you back. Instead, focus on nurturing your vision with positive energy and patience. Our senses play a big role in this process. They are like tools that help us experience and enjoy our creations. For example, if you've set a goal to improve your health, you might use your senses to engage with this goal in different ways. You might enjoy the taste of healthy foods, feel the satisfaction of a good workout, and see the positive changes in your body. All of these experiences help you stay connected to your vision and keep you motivated. As you continue to focus on your vision, you might find yourself making choices and taking actions that move you closer to your dreams. These choices might not always be big or dramatic. Sometimes they are small, everyday actions that align with your goals. For instance, if you want to advance in your career, you might decide to take a course to improve your skills, network with people in your field, or work on a new project. Each of these steps helps to bring your vision to life. Think of this process as tending to a garden. Just like a gardener nurtures their plants by watering them, removing weeds, and providing nutrients, you need to nurture your goals and desires. This means taking positive actions, removing obstacles, and making adjustments as needed. If you encounter challenges or setbacks, view them as opportunities to learn and grow. They are part of the process, and handling them with patience and a positive attitude will help you move forward. In this process, your senses should be the last to experience what your mind has already created. Your intention represents all the details of your desire, but you can simplify it into a symbol or picture. This symbol becomes a powerful reminder of your vision. When you hold this symbol, you hold the essence of your dreams. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Don't wait for your dream to manifest to be happy. Instead, feel happiness now. If you hold the thought of your dream house or garden and connect it with the emotion of joy, you're aligning yourself with your future. Your brain and body start to experience that future now, rather than being stuck in the past. When your heart opens and starts to generate a coherent magnetic field, you're broadcasting a powerful signal into the quantum field. This frequency carries the intent of your desires, whether it's for health, wealth, or something else. But if you're stuck in suffering or negative emotions, those frequencies won't attract what you want. They'll attract more of the same negative experiences. So how do you stay aligned with your vision despite life's challenges? It requires awareness and effort. Practice self-regulation. When you encounter a frustrating situation, don't let it derail you. Instead, bring your focus back to your future. This practice takes dedication and mindfulness. But with a supportive community and daily practice, you can shift from past emotions to future possibilities. Let's talk about relationships for a moment. Many people have different definitions of love, from neediness to control. But true love is not about working hard in a relationship. It's about bringing your best self to the table and celebrating life together. When both people are at their best, there's a natural flow of energy and growth. Relationships are a big part of our lives. They shape who we are and how we experience the world. Many people think that being in a relationship means you have to work really hard. They believe love is about meeting the needs of the other person, controlling certain aspects to make things perfect, or constantly making sacrifices. This is not true love. True love is about being your best self and bringing that to the relationship. Imagine you are the best version of yourself. You are happy, confident, and content. You bring that energy into the relationship. Your partner does the same. They bring their best self too. When both people are at their best, amazing things happen. First, there is a natural flow of energy. Think of it as two rivers joining together. When you bring positive energy, happiness, and joy into the relationship, and your partner does the same, the energy flows smoothly. There is no need for hard work or struggle. The relationship feels easy and natural. When you and your partner are at your best, you celebrate life together. This means enjoying the small moments, appreciating each other, and sharing happiness. You laugh together, support each other, and create beautiful memories. Life feels like a celebration because you are both bringing your best selves into it. In this kind of relationship, there is also a lot of growth. Growth happens when two people come together and help each other become better versions of themselves. When you are at your best, you inspire your partner to be their best too. You encourage each other, learn from each other, and grow together. True love is not about control or neediness. It is not about trying to change the other person or making them fit into your idea of what a perfect partner should be. True love is about acceptance and respect. You accept your partner for who they are and respect their individuality. You celebrate their uniqueness and support their dreams and goals. Neediness can create problems in a relationship. When you feel needy, you rely too much on your partner to make you happy. You expect them to fulfill all your needs and make you feel complete. This puts a lot of pressure on the relationship and can lead to disappointment and frustration. Control is another issue that can harm a relationship. When you try to control your partner, you limit their freedom and individuality. You may think you are helping the relationship, but in reality, you are creating tension and resentment. If you're struggling in a relationship, ask yourself if you would go out with you. Are you bringing your best self? If not, it might be time to step back and focus on improving yourself. Relationships thrive when both partners are aligned and positive. When you think about love, consider this. Thoughts are the electrical signals sent into the quantum field, and feelings are the magnetic fields that draw experiences back to you. If you want to attract love, you need to be in a state of love and openness. If you're stuck in anger or judgment, that's what you'll attract. If you're unhappy or feeling like a victim of circumstances, it's important to shift your focus. Practice elevating your emotions and opening your heart. Your ability to love and connect deeply starts with you. If you're reacting to stress or negative emotions, you're weakening your capacity to manifest positive changes. To create the relationship or life you desire, focus on trading survival emotions for elevated ones. This shift requires practice and dedication. If you find yourself struggling to feel love or openness, look at what you're practicing. Whatever you practice, you become. The more intense the emotions related to past experiences, the more disconnected you might feel from your desires. It's crucial to practice feeling good. Laser, a Wi-Fi signal that can allow you to read information. Can't read it if you're separate. You can't read it if your brain's incoherent. You can't read it if your heart's incoherent. And so the more coherence and order you have, the more the experience gets enriched, because you can't read that information unless you're ready for it. That's the point. So as people start getting through this, and they start having very profound moments, and they're now opening their heart, and they can sustain heart coherence, and they know how to create brain coherence. That's the formula. And now they have a laser. They have coherent light and information that can read information that exists beyond the senses. And the pineal gland, once activated, will transduce it into profound imagery. Whether you see with your eyes open or your eyes closed, it doesn't matter because it's more real than anything you've ever experienced. Let's have a small pause here. It's the next part. Dr. Zhou is going to talk about his research about the 4 states of matter. Listen carefully, this is very important. And so I started researching and I found that there's 4 states of matter. There's solids, there's liquids, there's gases. And the biggest, most abundant form of matter, what's called plasma. And plasma is when you have a negative charge and a positive charge, and they haven't formed an atom yet. So if you have a negative charge and a positive charge, then you're going to have an electrical current running between the two and a field around that current. And the universe really, stars connect through plasma. Everything connects through plasma. S. Intention is, you may say, I want a healing, I want a new job, I want a new relationship. Now, the moment you ask the question, the what if question, what would it be like to be in love? What would it be like to have a new job? What would it be like to be in a new relationship, to do whatever, to be healed? The moment you ask that question, the part of your brain called the frontal lobe, which is the crowning achievement of the human being, 40% of your brain is the frontal lobe. It's the workshop, it's the creative center. Frontal lobe has connections to all other parts of your brain. The moment you ask an open-ended question, you speculate a possibility. The creative center turns on, and it looks out over the landscape of the entire brain, and it begins to call up different networks of neurons that are stored in your brain based on something you've learned intellectually, knowledge, or something you've experienced in your life. Like, well, I know what it is to be in love, or I know what it is to have a good job, or I read a book about it, and it begins to call up these different networks of neurons, and then it seamlessly pieces them together to create a new idea, a new vision. Now listen, your body's gonna go like, well, we gotta get a cup of coffee, and you gotta go, I'm tired, and you gotta go, body, you're not the mind, I'm the mind right now. You're gonna sit here, I'm gonna feed you, you're gonna get your coffee, you're going to do all those things, but right now, this is my time. You're going to obey me, right? So now the body's no longer the mind, you're the mind. And so when it wants to get up and you become aware of it, you return back to the present moment. Every time you do, that's a victory. And you're changing some aspect of yourself. So then ask yourself, I do this all the time, write down 4 thoughts that you're going to stay conscious of the whole day. I can't, it's too hard. You'd be surprised the moment you become conscious of what those thoughts are, how unconscious you've been to them all day, all for weeks on end. Write down what you speak, how you speak, 4 things you want to change, how you act, how do you act? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? That's a victim consciousness. What emotions do you live by? Is it possible that you're so used to living by guilt you don't even know it's guilt, it just feels like you? Do you allow your energy to drop? Become conscious of those states of mind and body and review them and say, this is the old self. Then say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And start firing and wiring and start feeling it. What behaviors will I demonstrate today? What choices will I make? One day, one lifetime. Just like you did, rehearse them. Rehearse the whole entire thing. Begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain. And if you keep installing it, the hardware is going to become a software program, and you're going to start thinking and acting that way. And then here's the tough part. Can you teach your body emotionally what your future is going to feel like before it's made manifest? And don't get up until you feel that way. Now practice that for a few days and then see if you can stay in that state and watch all of a sudden all those weird doors start opening for you. Synchronicities, whatever they are. Number 2, take time at the end of your day before you lay down, and give thanks for your life. Feel gratitude and really teach your body what it feels like. The emotional signature of gratitude. Gratitude means you're getting something. If I give you something that's of value, you would say thank you because you would feel it, right? So when you're receiving, you're giving thanks. So gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving. So then people only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to their emotional state. So if you're in a state of gratitude, every thought's gonna make it right down into your body. If you're saying, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, and your body's programmed, the negativity, it's saying, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not, thought's going to stop right here. So as you elevate your state, there are about 100-200 different chemical reactions that go on in the body that begin to restore and repair the body in a state of gratitude. And so we've done the research to prove that. 10 minutes and just feel it with all of your heart. That's it. The third thing, and very important, take time. Whenever it is, sit down, close your eyes, and begin to just open your awareness to the space around you and just sense it and pay attention to it and become more aware of it. The act of opening your awareness begins to reduce the stress hormones and creates more coherent brainwave states. I'm doing it right now. It's just a practice. It's just a practice. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. Most of our thoughts and feelings come from our past experiences. They come from our memories. In fact, your brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of all the things you've learned and experienced to date. It's an artifact. And when you have an experience, when you're in the midst of an experience, all of your 5 senses plug you into the external environment. And as your brain is processing all of this vital sensory data, all of that information rushes back to the brain, and when it reaches the brain, it causes jungles of neurons to organize themselves into networks, to string into patterns, to reflect their interaction with their external environment. The moment those neurons organize into patterns, the brain makes a chemical, and that chemical is called a feeling or an emotion. And so experiences tend to create more long-term memories because it patterns or stamps or embosses networks of neurons into very specific patterns. And then the emotional quotient helps us to remember the event. So we learn something new intellectually. We also cause networks of neurons to form. I mean, the Nobel Prize laureate Kandel in the year 2000 found that when people learn just one bit of information, they double the number of connections in their brain from 1,300 connections to 2,600 connections. So if they didn't review that information or repeat it, the connections pruned apart. So we know then that learning semantic information begins to organize circuitry in the brain, and experiences enrich the brain. The end product of experience, of course, is the emotion, and it causes us to feel certain ways. You can remember where you were on 9/11. You can tell me who you were with, what time of day it was, what you were doing, because whatever you were seeing in that moment or hearing in that moment changed how you were feeling. And the moment you felt altered or you felt differently, significantly, your brain perked up and you paid attention to whatever caused that. And that event in and of itself is called a memory. So then most of our thoughts and feelings tend to be within the neural circuitry of the past and the emotions of the past chemically. So if you take a thought, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. So if you combine a thought and a feeling, a thought and a feeling, a thought and a feeling, and you have a series of good thoughts that are connected to a series of good feelings. That cycle of thinking and feeling creates what's called an attitude. If you have a series of negative thoughts that are connected to some pretty bad feelings, you'll say, I have a pretty bad attitude today. So if how you think and how you feel creates a state of being, then attitudes are just shortened states of being. You feel good in the morning, you feel bad in the afternoon. If you take an attitude, an attitude, an attitude, and you begin to string attitudes together, when you combine an attitude, an attitude, an attitude, you start to form what's called beliefs. Now, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until you hardwire it in your brain. And because beliefs are based on past experiences, then the very boundaries of our beliefs are how we feel. And so when our beliefs get challenged, it typically doesn't feel right. I know from the research that we've done that the redundancy of thinking and feeling and thinking over time, for example, a person has an insecure thought, then they feel insecure. The moment they feel insecure, they think more insecure thoughts. They fire and wire more circuits in their brain to feel more chemicals of insecurity. And then once they're feeling insecure, they think more insecure thoughts. And they do this over and over again. Right on the other side of your fear is courage. Right on the other side of your sadness is joy. It's the same energy. It's just trapped in the body. And when you stretch yourself past that point and you break free from the chains of those emotional addictions, the side effect of that is called joy. And the body is liberated from that level of mind. And when that happens, there's available energy to create with. And so when you break through that, you begin to love yourself. You begin to respect yourself. And you begin to love and respect others because you see yourself in them. And now that you're free from it, you can understand them with compassion without knee-jerking in the same way. So the difficulty here is really making the time to do it. And if you began to think about a new way of being and you moved into a state where you said, I'm not going to get up until I am this person. And not only did you memorize it neurologically in your brain, but you allowed the thoughts that you were thinking to become the experience to the point that your body, as the unconscious mind, began to live in that future reality in the present moment. And when you got up, when mind and body were working together in that state of being, and you said, I'm going to maintain the state of being my entire day, and I don't care. Bring on the challenges, because I want to test my greatness. And you did that the entire day. The end of your day, when you finished your day, more than likely you'd have more energy than when you started. The literal translation of the word meditation in Tibetan means to become familiar with. The symbol means to become familiar with. So if you're becoming conscious of or familiar with your unconscious self to the point you're so conscious of your unconscious thoughts, so familiar with your unconscious habits, and so aware of your emotions that you would never let them go by unnoticed by you. There's no chance for you to return back to the old self, to know thyself. So people wake up in the morning and they start thinking about their problems. And those problems are memories in the brain that are connected to certain people and certain things at certain times and places. So they wake up in the morning and they start thinking in the past. Now, the moment they start having those thoughts, every one of those experiences has an emotion associated with it. So when they start thinking about their problems or the problems of the world or the problems of their body or whatever it is, problems at work, they all of a sudden start to feel the correlated emotion. So now their body's in the past. So now people then get caught up in an emotion, they reaffirm their identity, they could wake up in the morning and feel nothing at all. And then all of a sudden they say, well, wait a second, I've got to get back to myself. So they start thinking about their problems, and here come the emotions. And they say, oh, now I feel like me again. So those emotions then begin to influence our thoughts. Like if you feel like a failure, you're going to think you're a failure. And when you think you're a failure, you're going to feel like a failure. And when you feel like a failure, you're going to think more thoughts equal to being a failure. And the cycle of thinking and feeling and thinking causes you to say, I am a failure. And the repetition of that process of thinking and feeling and thinking conditions the body to become the mind of that emotion. Now the emotion is stored in the body. Now the body's literally in the past. And the body, as the unconscious mind, doesn't know the difference between the actual experience that's creating the emotion and the emotion that you're creating by thought alone. Your body's believing it's in the same experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So then getting people out of the past is the work. So then they wake up in the morning after they reaffirm who they are, and they can't think greater than how they feel. They're in the familiar past. So if you're in the familiar past, you're going to do the things that reaffirm the emotions of your predictable future. So you wake up in the morning, you check your WhatsApp, you check your text, you check your Twitter, you tweet, you check your Facebook, you check your email, you check the news. Now you are really connected to everything that's known in your life. And then you run through a series of routine behaviors. You move around your house the same way you always do. You do all the same things. You go to the same grocery store, you buy the same food, you shop the same way, you do all these, you watch the same TV shows, and people do this for 10, 20, 30 years. Now their body's on autopilot, and their body's dragging them into a predictable future based on what they did in the past. You could actually take their yesterday and lift it up and set it on their tomorrow, which means then they've lost their free will to a program. So now the familiar past and the predictable future is called the known. There's only one place that you have to train a person to be so that they're not in the known, they're in the unknown, and that's called the present moment. So people get very happy being unhappy because they would rather cling to their unhappiness than take a chance in possibility. So stepping into that river and beginning to make a new choice and understanding that uncertainty, that unpredictability is the unknown. Now you're in that river of change, and it is the neurological, the biological, the chemical, hormonal, genetic death of the old self. People say to me, well, if there's uncertainty, I can't predict my future. And I always say the same thing. The best way to predict your future is to create it, not in the known, right there. That uncertainty, you can learn now how to regulate your state instead of living in fear, because the idea that things are going to get worse, the idea that you can't predict, the idea of being uncertain or can't control something actually sets off the stress response. So now you're in the unknown, and this survival gene is switched on. Of course, people are going out of the infinite possibilities that exist in the quantum field. They're going to select the worst scenario in their mind, right? So then what if you're in the unknown and you understand that, and now you can work back into that present moment, and you say, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain, put my attention behind? What behaviors today, one day? What behaviors do I want to demonstrate? And the act of closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain is no longer a record of the past.